Remember, today is the tomorrow you worried about yesterday. Dale Carnegie. Imagine for a moment, tomorrow. You've been there before, right? Sometimes it feels so far away, like a hazy place you're trying to avoid. Maybe you've spent sleepless nights, your chest tight with anxiety, thinking about the future, the choices you need to make, the changes you can't control. But what if I told you that the tomorrow you fear, the tomorrow that keeps you up at night, has already arrived? The tomorrow you worry about is actually the today you created yesterday with your concerns. It sounds a bit confusing, doesn't it? But the wisdom behind this quote from Dale Carnegie brings a powerful clarity. When we look at the future with anxiety, we forget that the only time we truly have to live is now. Let's reflect on this together. When we think about the future, it's often filled with uncertainties. Worries about our careers, relationships, health, finances. These things can consume us. We get caught up in the idea that something is always just out of reach, or that we are always chasing tomorrow in an attempt to find peace or happiness. But here's the kicker. Tomorrow is never really tomorrow. It's always today. And in fact, tomorrow is only a reflection of how we've been handling today. Think about it. The worries you have today, those are the same ones you were projecting into the future yesterday. The things that felt so overwhelming, so uncertain, the things you thought were going to break you on tomorrow, they are already here. And now, you're simply facing them as the present moment. The trick, though, is that when we start worrying about tomorrow, we lose the beauty and the potential of right now. The ancient Stoics, for instance, understood this concept deeply. They said that anxiety is essentially the fear of what could be. And yet, when we stop to breathe and really observe, we realize that now is all we truly have. So why do we keep looking so far ahead, stressing over a future that doesn't even exist yet? Why don't we simply pause, look around, and realize that we are already in the moment we once feared? We all know that life is unpredictable. No matter how much we plan, life has a way of throwing curveballs, and it's easy to get stuck in this cycle of worrying about what's to come. Let's take a moment to think about how that anxiety shows up in real life. Imagine a person, let's call him Mark. Mark has been in a job he doesn't love for years, but he's scared to leave. Every day he thinks, if I quit, will I find something better? What if I'm not good enough? He constantly worries about his future, the bills, the stability, the unknowns. And this fear paralyzes him, makes him stay in a place that no longer serves him. Mark's story isn't rare. It's something most of us can relate to. We've all had moments where the thought of stepping into the unknown feels terrifying. But if we take Dale Carnegie's wisdom seriously, the truth is that Mark's tomorrow of fear is already here. He's living in it right now. The consequences of not making a choice are just as real as the fear of change. Here's where the power of the present moment comes in. The anxiety Mark feels is rooted in his inability to act today. He's spending so much energy projecting into the future, he's not realizing that today is the only time he can make a change. The first step: start small. Acknowledge that the big, overwhelming decision doesn't need to be tackled all at once. Mark doesn't need to quit his job immediately, but he can start by researching other opportunities, updating his resume, or just having a conversation with someone who's already made a similar leap. The second step is self-compassion. Remind yourself that it's okay to not have everything figured out. Tomorrow is only a shadow of your current thoughts and feelings. And if you give yourself permission to make small, imperfect steps today, you might find that tomorrow isn't as scary as it seemed. You don't need to conquer everything at once. What you need is to act today, because today is where everything happens. Meet Sophia. Sophia had always dreamed of being a writer. Since she was a child, she would jot down stories, poems, and ideas in notebooks that filled the drawers of her room. But as she grew older, life started to push her dreams aside. She took on a corporate job, settled into a routine, and began telling herself the same story. Maybe writing isn't practical. Maybe I missed my chance. For years, she told herself that one day, someday, she'd get the courage to follow her passion. But someday never came. Each day was filled with the same fear. The fear of rejection, the fear of failure, the fear of not being good enough. Then one day, Sophia found herself staring at her reflection in the mirror. She was 35 now. The job was stable, but the spark inside her, the one she had as a little girl, was dimming. She thought about all those years spent worrying about what might happen if she tried to write. She thought about all the what-ifs that had held her back. And then she remembered that quote from Dale Carnegie. Remember, today is the tomorrow you worried about yesterday. It hit her hard. The worry she had about starting her writing career had been paralyzing her for years. She was afraid that if she took the leap, she might fail. But what she hadn't realized was that she was already failing by not trying at all. The tomorrow she'd feared had already come. Today. And nothing had changed because she'd spent her time worrying instead of living. So, Sophia made a choice. It wasn't a big, dramatic leap. It was a small step. She promised herself that every morning before work, she would write for just 30 minutes. That was it. No pressure, no expectations, just writing for the joy of it. Fast forward 6 months. Sophia didn't just write a few short stories. She had written a novel. Not only that, but she had submitted it to a publishing house. The fear was still there, but she had learned to feel the fear and do it anyway. She realized that the worry about her future was never about the outcome. It was about her own hesitation to act in the present. Sophia's transformation wasn't about waiting for the perfect moment. It was about showing up for her dreams, right here, right now. And that's the truth we often overlook. Today is all we have. We spend so much of our lives focused on a future that's not even guaranteed, fearing outcomes that are far beyond our control. And in doing so, we miss the one thing that actually can change our lives: the power of the present moment. Sophia's story reminds us that transformation doesn't happen when we're waiting for the perfect conditions. It happens when we decide to act, even if the conditions aren't perfect. It happens when we let go of the what-ifs and start living the life we're meant to live today. So, the question is, what are you going to do today? What step will you take to stop worrying about tomorrow and start living today? The power to change your life isn't in a distant, unknown future. It's here, in the choices you make right now. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to pause and reflect. If you found peace or clarity in this message, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share your thoughts. What's one small action you'll take today to shape a better tomorrow? And if you know someone who's struggling with the weight of tomorrow, share this video with them. It might just be the reminder they need to step into today. Don't forget to like this video if it helped. And if you're looking for more reflections and practical wisdom like this, make sure to subscribe and join our community. Remember, today is the tomorrow you worried about yesterday. Make it